Hi folks, here we are again within our business and IP. Now here I want to talk about some business considerations with regard to Europe. I already made some business strategic with IP and with regard to business. Now I want rather focus on Europe as the variety as it is with regard to your business development you want to have with regard to Europe. Now, if you are on the internet, if you are a small business on the internet where everything is done through internet, distribution, payment, and the collection of any complaints or whatever, then you don't need to focus on the different parts of Europe because everything is ruled out through the internet, so it does not really concern you. You may still bear with me during this video because there's some fun part into it as well. Now, if you, on the other hand, want to distribute your own channel, you organize your own channel in Europe, you want to have a licensee or a business partner or a joint venture, or you want to need somebody in order to help you to make the business license, well, whatever it is. If you need to go with someone from the European Union, you will have to make a choice where to go, right? 26 member states and 23 languages to choose. Although the legal framework is more or less the same, I will focus now on what are the differences. And I will start by telling you what you should not do, but what the majority of the people still does, regretting afterwards what they have done, right? And I will tell you a small story here from Spain that is probably from the last century, so some 30 years ago, but it is still something which would be valuable and which gives you a good lesson when you come from outside of Europe to make business here in Europe. Now, Spain was rather cheap at this moment. It was probably not yet in the European Union. It joined in '86, so that is about the 70s and beginning 80s. And it was cheap, and the tourists flow in because they had big beaches, good partying, the food was good, the temperature was fantastic, even in winter. So they came in and they looked at all this and thought, well, why not stay a bit longer? Why not make my retirement here? And the real estate is cheap, so I can do some business here in acquiring one real estate and having then no problem with not going to hotels and so on. So they decided to buy real estate, and as they do not speak Spanish, so the Brits, they don't speak another language normally, often. The French, they do not speak the German, they had no Spanish idea probably. It is not like today where everybody is going everywhere and you find always somebody speaking Spanish somewhere. So that was not the case. Now what did they do? They looked for some recommendations. They went at a bar and they said, well, that guy that knows about the real estate, I have heard from a friend that he had talked to him and they found a property and so on. And on top of it, he's good because he speaks some English, or he is English. That was another English who was talking, well, there were two Englishmen talking one to the other. And so a German would be looking for a German, and a Dutch for a Dutch, and a Dane for a Dane, and a French for a French, and so on and so on. And why is that? Well, it is the comfort of being understood. That is the language-wise. But it is also the comfort that I will find somebody with my cultural background. I trust that the Danes will not take advantage of another Dane. They may take advantage of the Dutch, or they may take advantage of, I don't know, the German, but they never would take advantage of another Dutch, no, or Dane. That would be not the case. But at the end, this is the case. Because problems arise afterwards. What problems? Well, the construction company went bankrupt already. You have paid, I don't know, 10%, 20%, 50% of the price. Or the construction license is not being agreed upon, although you already paid for the plot of land like it is a construction site. Or, I don't know, if it is something already established, the swimming pool does not work and you're a different country, and all the problems around with the pool maintenance or the pool reconstruction, or that gives you a headache. Or the price is suddenly much higher than it was before for any circumstances beyond your imagination. So this happens. And this should not happen, and it will not happen if you do same thing what you would do if you want another business partner in your home country, in Argentina. Why not? Argentina, you want to northern part, you are in Buenos Aires and you want to the northern part in Argentina, which is, I don't know, 2,000 kilometers away. And you would look for somebody, and somebody speaks your language. Well, that is very normal, but you would still make a kind of due diligence, right? Due diligence, what can this be? Well, you would look to the internet. You would look for some recommendations. You would look for business license. You would look for how many years is that company already in place. You would look for if there are litigations around that company. You would have a look at the Chamber of Commerce in order to get some references about the company, to look at competitors. Well, you can do this within 3, 4, 5 days, and that's it. And probably you will get a positive result, and you will not regret what may happen afterwards all the time. That is what you want to do. Now, let us see what is it here if it is another country. Like here we are in Europe now. Even if you are from Africa, from Argentina, and from Turkmenistan, you can do your internet research. And then afterwards, something which you are worried about if that company is working already with a competitor, and which will put more work into the competitor's part than in your part. So you will talk to the company frankly and looking for some references or some information from that company. If that company is serious, they have no problems to give you that information. And it is even a trust-building exercise, not with regard you to the company, but also the company to you. They may also have some questions being put to you because they do not want to enter any relationship of whatever kind without their due diligence doing from their part. And then you will start probably slowly. You would not pay upfront a lot of money. You never would do that, right? But if the trust takes over, or you are in a holiday mood, or you are expecting, well, I have 600 million consumers now at my flip, and I will not miss out. So the feeling of missing out, that makes you making mistakes. You don't want to do that. So that is one thing. The second thing here is that the Europeans are very have a rich culture. They are proud of their variety of people. And there's some fun. We're making here in Europe some fun about it. Like European Union, so that the single market and the overall structure would be like heaven if the lover would be Italian, the cooks would be French, the technicians would be German, the policemen would be English, and all would be organized by a Swiss. That would be heaven in Europe, because everybody does what it's doing best as a stereotype with regard to the country. Now you can put this in the inverse. Europe would be hell if, I don't know, the lovers would be German, the cooks would be British, the policemen would be Greek or Italian, and everything is organized by I don't know, the Spanish or well, it's nothing against the Spanish, nothing against the Greek, nothing against the German. This is only stereotypes, but stereotypes just for fun. The stereotypes, they have a certain truth into it, right? Because each country has a certain idiosyncrasy. And you want to understand that. You want to understand that Germany's backbone is the automotive industry and the machinery. You know this. Well, there comes the technician part from, or the organizedness of Switzerland. So everything is clean. You don't find a waste paper on the street. No, it's very clean. That is very organized. So there is some truth into it. And you will, when you decide about the country, you go into Europe, you will have this in mind, right? But you will have other considerations as well. Where does your product enter the European market? Will you go the sea through Rotterdam or Geneva or Athens in Piraeus? Or will you go through train, the Belt and Road? Will you take the Belt and Road initiative, or will you go airplanes by airplane, because you have some goods which are perishable? So you need to take this into account and then look at the distribution chain or distribution, how to distribute to one and the other. Where's your strongest market in Europe? Where do you expect making the most sales, with regard to take into account the idiosyncrasy of each country? So these are some considerations where you should put in when you're talking to Europe. The language would not be much problem. You are already having some English, but you will be, Greek would be very, very difficult probably. But in Greece already, the English speaking and those who are dealing with international companies are such, the globalization, we are at such way that we can communicate in English. The contracts, etc., that is another issue you want to take care of. You need a lawyer in order to have a contract, and you need a contract. Yes, it's always good. It is always the best thing would be never to look back at the contract, but go slowly into a relationship. That would be the right thing to do. And that is the right thing with Europe as well. So that gives you now a certain possibility to look at Europe not as a monolithic Europe single market. No, that gives you a different perspective, that the Europeans are all different. Culture-wise, temperature-wise, temper-wise, language-wise. So everything is to be looked at with some attention, with some eagerness to learn, with some possibility to get into something new, but understanding it. That's it for today. So Europe and its variety. Thank you for tuning in. Next time it will be about a wrap-up.